Hey, toy fans! Scott ToyGuru Nightlick here. I have not made one of these videos in quite a while, probably almost maybe 10 years since I left Mattel. But at the time I was at Mattel, I had amazing experiences. I got to run MattyCollector.com, the DC Universe Classics line, Masters of the Universe Classics, all sorts of amazing experiences. I've recently moved out of California. I'm now in Greensboro, North Carolina, which, if you've never visited, it is amazing. That's not the point of this video. The point is, I finally was able to unpack all of the toys I've been collecting over the last 30 years. And in doing so, I found quite a lot of, unique items that I've picked up over the years, and a lot of them from my time at Mattel. Now, don't get the wrong idea. None of this is, stuff pilfered from Mattel or anything like that. Many of the items were employee gifts. Others were prototypes and early production items, which were signed out to me by VPs and executives. A lot of times there's spring cleaning going on. Things are tossed out all the time, and I'm one of the rare people that was actually a collector and a brand manager at Mattel. So I want to thank people like Doug Wadley, Tim Kilpin, Carol Levine, who were kind enough to sign out several items for me so I could have them for my personal collection. So I have a ton of stuff to show. The Masters of the Universe stuff I'm going to push into the next video. This one I'm just going to focus on DC items, but here's a sneak peek anyway. All right, DC. So this is one a lot of people know about. It is the Green Lantern Hal Jordan Justice League Unlimited holiday figure. Mattel ran about 120 of these that were holiday gifts for employees and Warner Brothers executives. It was an original sculpt Hal Jordan head, but it was tooled in a way where the tool sort of disintegrated after use. That's why we couldn't do more of them. It didn't actually exist. It was done in a very inexpensive way that was actually funded by non-media, not a tooling budget. This is the card back, which was signed by Bruce Timm. He signed all 120 of them. I may have the number incorrect, but it was somewhere around there. And I was fortunate enough to get one of them right when I started, since I was such a huge Justice League fan. Thanks to Gabe Sheffer. I appreciate that. Here is a shot of it next to a fan custom. So this is one that fans made. You can see that the chest logo is a little different. The head sculpt's a little different, but this was a way that myself and others could have a loose one, because I didn't want to take mine out of the package at all. All right, the next one up is the Gray Ghost employee figure. So this was, another one that was a holiday gift. This one was actually one that I worked on, that I did, and really came from my love of the Gray Ghost character. It was just a card back variant, as opposed to the Hal Jordan that was a unique character. We ran it at the same time that we ran the mass release, and just packaged, I think this one was 500 that we did for employees. It was also signed by Bruce Timm on the back. And this one really came from when I saw the episode when I was a kid, and I saw little Bruce playing with a Gray Ghost figure. I said, wow, I really want that toy. And the fact that I grew up and got to work on it was absolutely one of the coolest experiences I had. You can see the mass release right next to it. Same exact figure. It's just a packaging variant that was done for employees. All right, as we continue down our JL or JLU streak, this was a pair of deluxe figures that were done. They were actually done before my time, but I was fortunate enough to be gifted this pair. The first is Superman, which was Twin Talon Superman. It was a repaint of the Superman figure with a unique deluxe accessory. I believe these may have been released in Brazil, is a part of it on a Spanish card. But this is the U.S. English card, which never made it to market. So here's the other one in the pair. It was two in a set. This was Twin Talon Flash. So again, it was a repaint of a Flash figure with a super deluxe accessory. Basically, what you see is what you get. It's meant as a kind of a kid line, but it never got released. And when two of them came across my desk, someone knew I was a Justice League fan. like I said, there weren't that many collectors at Mattel, and when people knew I was one, they were often happy to get me items, which, again, the VPs were kind enough to sign out for me so I could have it for my collection, and would love it. All right, this one is a real rarity. What you're looking at here is a Super Friends Joker figure. This was meant for the second wave of Super Friends figures, but it was scheduled to come out right about the time when Heath Ledger passed away. And it was felt by both Mattel and Warner Brothers that it wasn't exactly appropriate to have a sort of a kid-friendly Joker right after this great actor passed. No one wanted to be seen as, even though it was planned beforehand, it just didn't feel right releasing it. So it got pulled from the line. There were a couple loose versions, but this was the packaged one. And again, people knew that I was actually a collector and I would appreciate this. And they were kind enough to get it to me. This is what's called the FPO sample for placement. Here is the back. The back was blank except for the Mattel logo. He would have had an ejecting boxing glove gun, was going to be his action feature, and he would have been part of the line with Lex Luthor and Superman and Flash. All right, DC Universe. So this is the Etrigan. Now I know you're saying, wait, we have that figure. He was in Wave 1. This is the variant that was never made. It had a different deco on the face. It was the same exact sculpt. It wasn't a different head, but the face, we'll do a close-up shot here. It had more of what we called a Kirby deco to it, to try to be more accurate to the way Jack drew the character. And this was meant to be one of the two variants from Wave 1, but unfortunately, due to multiple sort of what we call logistical issues, I know everyone loves that word, it never shipped. And this is a rare packaged sample of that Etrigan variant. The other variant for the first wave of DCU Classics was going to be Modern Red Tornado. This one I think was actually shown publicly, so a lot of people know about it. It was basically the same sculpt with a different deco, and then we lost the glove and boot sort of clip-on or glue-on pieces that made the boots and the gloves. But otherwise, it was the same figure, different deco on the striping and on the cape. You can see here the back. The cape had a slightly different deco to make him in the modern look. And again, unfortunately, both him and the Demon just didn't make it in Wave 1 as variants as planned. Another variant for DCU Classics was this Batman Beyond figure. Now, this was actually part of the Matty Collector program at the very tail end. This was supposed to be a chase figure on Matty Collector, kind of like that Red Hordak figure. He was going to show up randomly online. You never knew when he was going to be there. We tooled up the wings. They clipped onto the back there. But what happened was the same year that we were doing him, Batman Beyond won a fan vote in a different line. And certain parties didn't want two Batman Beyonds out at the same time, even though one was retail and one was Matty. So he got nixed, even though he pretty much made it all the way except for package sample. But I'm a huge Batman Beyond fan. And again, Shazam! Captain Marvel. Love Captain Marvel. I am a huge Captain Marvel fan. This was part of the Young Justice line. It was going to be the next wave. There were a few figures. I definitely didn't go after all of them, but being such a huge Captain Marvel fan, call him Shazam, but this one is just so classic and so cartoony looking. I loved it. And he sits proudly in my Captain Marvel collection at home. Another character from Young Justice, Red Tornado, also just didn't make it all the way to shelf. Very, very robotic looking with the body, the way the cape was done. It was a very cool version of Red Tornado. But yeah, much like Shazam, and there were a couple others, but these were the only two that I scrambled to get since I was a personal fan of the characters. Here they are together, side by side. Beautiful looking, absolutely awesome figures that unfortunately just never made it to market. All right, next time we will definitely look at some Motu items. Everyone knows the King Grayskull variant that was auctioned off for charity. And there's definitely quite a few Motu rarities that I have floating around, but I realized that if I tried to squeeze all of them into one video, it was just going to be too much. So that will be next time. So be sure to subscribe, click a like, so that you can be notified when the next video is posted. And I'll see you next time.